Portions of the following program may have been pre-recorded.
The following program's views, claims, or ideas may not reflect those of WSRR Radio or StylesRebelRadio.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Behind Enemy Lines, a Cleveland sports show recorded in Pittsburgh. You're listening to us on WSRR Radio. That's the only place you can get a show like this. I'm Lucas D'Ororazio. I'm joined by Dom Ferro. We're here in Pittsburgh on the North Shore, overlooking the all-right Pittsburgh skyline. I'm not going to say beautiful, but an all-right Pittsburgh skyline.
We're here on the beautiful North Shore of Pittsburgh.
That's right. It's all right. It's a good shore. I mean, it's one of, 3-4 shores? There's a bunch of rivers. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a south side, but it's not called
Not
the shore.
Yeah, I feel like this is the only shore.
There's a lot of different stuff going on.
I wouldn't go swimming in it, though.
No, definitely not. These rivers are a lot dirtier than Lake Erie. That's where Ohio gets the edge. That's where Cleveland's waterfront gets the edge over Pittsburgh's waterfront. We are recording here on September 18th. The second week of the NFL season is just wrapped up. Looking forward to the third week of the NFL season. The Browns come out of Jacksonville with a victory over the Jaguars. 18-10, I believe, was the final score. I might even be getting that wrong. Strongly anchored by the defensive presence of a last year number one defense. Deshaun Watson maybe look kind of decent.
Back.
Maybe. I don't know about that. That might be an overreaction. My note on the Browns week 2 game against Jacksonville was that week 1 maybe it was a little bit of an overreaction.
Yeah.
Saying that he's back may be an overreaction off of the overreaction. But they still didn't look great, but they looked like a team that could win 9+ games. That's pretty much my synopsis for saying that it was an overreaction. I think a lot of people after week 1 were kind of like, this is a 4 or 5 win team.
Yeah. I mean, you look around the league, though, what quarterbacks are really blowing people away? There's no one so far.
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold's been looking good.
Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are really the top 2 quarterbacks right
and
now.
I was saying this all offseason. Sam Darnold needed a shot, and he's proven it right now. He's an MVP frontrunner right now, I'd say.
Yeah,
Him and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if frontrunner because I'd probably put Baker in front of him.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
they're up there.
He's looked great. I mean, Deshaun Watson, getting back to this Browns game, didn't look spectacular. Started off very well. I believe he started the game 8 of 10. I think Stefanski drew up a really good opening drive, which I think Stefanski's pretty good at. He's really good at scripted drives. And, of course, scripted versus unscripted drives, if you know anything about running an NFL or a college offense, there's a huge difference in that. You can kind of tell the difference between those first 15 plays that it's like, all right, we already know what we're going to run until you're kind of ad-libbing and you're making it up on the fly a little bit and seeing what you have and what happened on the last play. It's a lot different. But in the first couple drives of this game, obviously they scored a touchdown on the first drive, and that's huge when this is a low-scoring game. Really, you have a really good defense, obviously, an elite defense. It's almost like a score on the first or second drive is kind of really going to set you up for success the entire day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that you also see that with the Steelers, another team who has a really good defense, but maybe not a spectacular offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could probably count on one hand the amount of times the Steelers have scored on the first drive, and I could agree. It's probably the most important thing. It sets the tone. It helps get points on the board early. I feel like most of the time the first team who scores is usually the team who wins. Yeah,
I would say so. There's always a rare comeback, and maybe I shouldn't say rare, but that really does set you up for a lot. You're not playing from behind. Obviously, you can kind of dictate the tempo and dictate what's going on, which is why I kind of sometimes think the taking the ball in the second half is a little overrated. But I don't know. I would be interested to hear your opinion on that.
Yeah, I feel like returning in the second half is always better.
Yeah,
that's just how I lean, but I don't think you can go wrong either way.
Yeah, it's interesting to talk about the phases of the game. Like I mentioned, that first drive, second drive, setting the tone, those scripted plays. But then there's always that middle 8 that teams talk about, the last 4, the first half, and the first 4 minutes of the second half. And that's where huge momentum swings can happen because, you get that double dip or, you get a stop going into the half. There's a lot of momentum that comes into the half, things like that. You kind of can see both arguments. But the Browns in this one, they took the ball and had a marathon first drive. Deshaun Watson gets in on a rushing touchdown, finished 22 of 34 for 186 yards on the day and a passing touchdown. So, he just kind of looked all right. I think he looked average, and I really don't think that with this team you have to be that far above average to get wins.
Yep, I agree. The defense was the difference maker in this one. They shut down Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, which I'm not so sure if they're a very good team yet. The verdict's not out just yet, but we'll find out soon enough. Trevor Lawrence, though, just leading into another topic this week in the NFL, if his career doesn't pan out, if he's out of the league in, let's say, three years, is he a bigger bust than Bryce Young will be?
I don't know if he definitely won't be out of the league in 3 years. I think he'll at least, even if he ends up having a bad couple years, he's at least a backup somewhere, right? Like, the potential and the raw talent is still there. He'll be in the league. I don't know. I think he would be a bigger bust because it seemed like he coming into the league was like, this is the surefire number one pick. Like, this is your guy. This is who you want. You want Trevor Lawrence. If you're in the number one pick, the Jaguars have a great situation because they get Trevor Lawrence. He's going to come out. He's going to be pro ready right away. I feel like when Bryce Young came out, who were the other quarterback? Oh, C.J. Stroud was the other one that came out. Will Levis. It was kind of like, do you lean Bryce Young? Do you go with C.J. Stroud? Bryce Young maybe had more college success being at Alabama. C.J. Stroud lost to Michigan and Ohio State, some stuff like that. I'm an Ohio State fan, and I wasn't really sold on C.J. Stroud. So I don't know. I think probably Trevor Lawrence would be considered a bigger bust just because he had more hype coming in.
Yeah, you're so right. He was a surefire Pro Bowler. Most people would think that he would win a Super Bowl in his career the way they were talking about him,
and he's had flashes, don't get us wrong.
Yeah, but not enough for the hype that he was given. He was supposed to be the next Peyton Manning, the next Tom Brady. He was supposed to carry the torch and be this generational player, and he's just not that. Bryce Young, no one expected him to be generational. They expect him to be serviceable. They expect him to be, best case scenario, he's a Russell Wilson. He gets maybe a Super Bowl. He's a leader. That was the best case scenario for him. He was never going to be a surefire thing. Yeah,
and unfortunately, it's really unfortunate for him because he's in the worst situation in the league. I mean, the Panthers are just in shambles as an organization. Complete dumpster fire. I mean, their number one receiver is what? Adam Thielen?
Yeah.
How old? Maybe.
I thought Deontay Johnson was going to add a little something. I thought he was going to get a lot of catches this year, but he has been pretty much non-existent.
Yeah, I think that's Steelers fans' delusion because Deontay Johnson he had flashes in Pittsburgh, but again, really I think he's another guy who needs to be in the right situation, in a very good situation, surrounded by a Hall of Fame quarterback in Benjamin Roethlisberger. They had Chase Claypool, who at that time was very good. Juju was in his prime at that time. George Pickens was young when Deontay Johnson was in Pittsburgh. I think that he had a lot more going for him then, where he can be a really good third target.
But he was the number one guy there for a while.
Was he though? Was he ever really the number one? I mean, he was
their number one option.
Maybe number one in production, but I don't know if that really makes you a number one receiver, getting guarded. Amari Cooper is the Browns' number one receiver, but his numbers are pretty down this year. But that doesn't mean he's not the number one option and he's not the best receiver on the field.
Yeah, but
for the Cleveland Browns.
I do think Deontay Johnson was the number one guy on the team for a few years. When Pickens was a rookie,
that would be an interesting conversation.
When Pickens was a rookie, it was Deontay.
Really?
Last year, it was Deontay.
That's sad because he was not very good, and neither was the Steelers' offense.
He wasn't that awful though. He had some questionable things. He had some character issues, I'd say. He had inopportune drops, but he was a good player.
Do you think he helps the Steelers' offense now?
Yeah, I do.
Which they need as much help as they can get. Through 2 weeks, they have now scored one touchdown.
I think they expected that they would land a huge wide receiver this offseason, and it just did not pan out that way. And they also drafted Roman Wilson from Michigan, who I've heard a lot of great things about, but he hasn't seen the field yet. Hopefully in the next week or two, he'll get out there.
In preseason, right?
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll be something, but Deontay Johnson, right now, he's kind of in his prime, I'd say, as far as his age, the typical prime of an NFL player's career. He's in it right now. And Roman Wilson's a rookie. You can't expect that much production out of him.
Yeah, but was Deontay Johnson playing above his ceiling? I mean, he's a guy from Toledo, Mac school. Obviously, not a ton expected from him. Low expectations coming in, and played very well for the Steelers on a lot of different occasions. But was that kind of? I almost don't want to say this because it was a little more prolonged than that, but a little Linsanity run.
No,
he was very good for a little while, but on a team that didn't have an elite offense. And, they obviously were winning games because that's how the Steelers are. They're always going to be in positions to win games. But was he that impactful truly to where he could plug and play on any team? I would have to say no. And I think that's why you're seeing he's on one of the worst teams in the league. Well, probably the worst team in the league, and he's not making any impact.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't help his case. But I think if he's on a good team, he would be an elite receiver. But I do think it's a good question to ask. Is he in an awful situation right now?
What team, though, would he be on right now that he would be a number 3 receiver that's very good? You think of the top teams, like the Packers have Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed.
Yeah, Christian Watson.
He's not playing with them. The Chiefs, they have Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood's out for the season.
That is true. But there, of course, any receiver can look.
But
good
I don't think
Mahomes throwing to him.
But I don't think anyone going as a wide receiver 3 is going to be anything super impactful.
I just don't. I don't know.
I think he'd be the best wide receiver. He'd be the best wide receiver 3 in the league.
I think he was overhyped by the Steelers fans. I'm not going to lie, and I think that's
fair.
More obvious now in the way that the last couple of years of his career have played out because. He's had a lot of drops, like you said, and now he's on the Panthers, who are the worst team in the league, and he's not doing much.
Mm.
And speaking of the Panthers, one conversation that came out this week was how Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold were both on the Panthers, and we mentioned already in this segment that those are 2 MVP frontrunners.
Yeah.
And the Panthers still couldn't do anything with them. So
they traded DJ Moore, they traded Christian McCaffrey, traded Brian Burns.
They've got a lot of issues over there in Carolina.
Traded a lot of picks.
Ever since losing Cam Newton,
speaking of Cam, I saw they're talking to him right now, trying to bring him back. That's how bad the situation is.
That's insane.
That's when you know it's over. When you're thinking about signing Cam Newton, when you're talking
to podcast hosts.
Yes,
maybe they'll call us next.
That'd be big.
I'll come in, strap it up, play tight end for him.
That'd be huge.
I don't know what's going on over there, but I'll play tight end. Be the next Greg Olsen in Carolina. That would be pretty nice.
I think you could beat out Tommy Tremble or whoever they got.
Tommy Tremble? All right. I like that confidence.
Got that.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Now, you talk about the poor quarterback play in Carolina, though. Who do they have behind Bryce Young? It's Andy Dalton, correct?
Yeah. Yep, Andy Dalton.
That's a sad state of affairs to choose between Bryce Young, who's a quarterback who looks like it's going to be a bust, and a very old Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I don't understand what they're doing. I don't understand this about a lot of teams in the NFL, where you just roll with the quarterback who and you could give this guy a million years in his prime, he would never win a Super Bowl.
No.
Or maybe not in his prime, but at this moment, you could give him this exact season a million times, and he would never, ever win a Super Bowl. It's the same with the Giants, and they've kept it going with Daniel Jones for the last 5 years. There's not a 1% chance that they would ever win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I
feel the same. This might be a hotter take, but I feel the same way with the Seahawks and Geno Smith. He's good. He throws the ball well. He seems like a good leader. Are you writing off
Geno Smith? Are you writing him off because he won't write back?
Yeah, that's great, but he's never going to win a Super Bowl. He's never ever going to win a Super Bowl.
So would you rather them play Sam Howell?
No,
that's their backup right now.
I guess you got to do what you can, but probably they should have drafted a quarterback. You got to keep throwing darts at a board until you hit something because Geno Smith is not the guy.
This is why I think that in the future, the Falcons' pick of Michael Penix is not really that insane of a pick.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They mentioned, we don't want to be in quarterback purgatory. It is crazy that he was taken so high, especially after signing Kirk Cousins with so much money. But you mentioned, you don't want to just run out a guy who you don't have a chance to win with.
Yeah.
And in some cases, look at the Dolphins. Tua now is placed on the IR. Skylar Thompson's going to be running out there. And maybe Tyler Huntley, like you said, they signed him this week. But
I'm pretty sure Tua has a big deal. I'm pretty sure he has a lot of years left on his contract. But whenever that is up, you have to get rid of him because I think he's another guy who
we'll see if he makes it to the end of that.
Yeah,
is the thing.
that is the question.
But you see these teams who are now in quarterback purgatory, and that's the thing that the Falcons were trying to avoid. And in the end, they did that in a way that now they have a backup that they're set up for success, even if Kirk Cousins goes down.
Yeah.
You're listening to Behind Enemy Lines on WSRR Radio. We'll be right back after this.
Oh no! It's the Lo-Fi Pirate!
Ahoy, mateys! Lo-Fi wake-ups. 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. weekdays.
Welcome back to Behind Enemy Lines on WSRR Radio. 216-859-8699 is the hotline to text or call or leave us a voicemail. Let us know what you want to hear on Behind Enemy Lines here at Cleveland Sports Show in Pittsburgh. The conversation being had during the break there was Deontay Johnson. Again, we're talking a little bit too much about Deontay Johnson. It seems like this is a little bit of a Mohamed Sanu type of situation for me and Dom. We had an old show that we did for a class project, and we found ourselves listening to it a couple weeks ago, and we talked about Mohamed Sanu for 10 plus minutes.
Our first radio experience, WDSR.
Yeah, duke it out. Yeah, I don't know if you can find it anywhere in the archives, but you might not want to listen to
tough.
it. But Deontay Johnson, Dom's point was, if he was on the 49ers right now, they'd be in a great position. And I said that the 49ers have Juwan Jennings as their third receiver, and I think he's better.
I just don't. I don't think so. Yeah, he was great in the Super Bowl.
He was great in the Super Bowl.
He probably could have been the MVP if they would have won the game.
Yes, he would have been. And he won me $90 that night because we all drew names from a hat of who we were going to bet on for an anytime touchdown. And I got Juwan Jennings, and I said, thank God I got Juwan Jennings. Before the game even started, I said, he's good. He's going to score in this game.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew. Juwan Jennings is the man.
2+ touchdown or passing touchdown. That would have paid out.
Oh my goodness, that would have went crazy. I think I put $5 on him, but that's it.
But I really think Deontay, his route running is some of the best in the league. I think you have Brandon Ayuk and Deontay Johnson right now, plus Juwan Jennings. It's not like he goes away. He still stays in that wide receiver 3 role.
You're crazy. But that's only because Debo's hurt. Once Debo comes back, Deontay's riding
back
the pine.
To the bench.
No, Deontay's riding the pine, buddy.
No.
I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you, but it's not happening for Deontay Johnson.
Speaking of the 49ers, though, speaking of the 49ers, they lost 23-17 to the Vikings. We talked a little bit about Sam Darnold and his MVP odds, but I want to talk more about the Vikings and their defense, and more specifically, Brian Flores.
He's the man.
The former Dolphins coach.
The Browns to bring him in as DC once Joe Woods left. Fortunately, they brought in a pretty good DC. They've looked pretty good over the last 2 years. But Brian Flores, I mean, former Dolphins head coach. I think you just said that.
Yep.
But he's got to be a head coach in the league somewhere.
You'd think so,
year, right?
I mean, he went to the Steelers after the whole fiasco with the Dolphins and the lawsuit and the Tua thing, but he was right about Tua the whole time.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it seems like he was.
The whole time he was right about it. I think he's one of the smartest coaches in the league. To be able to stop the 49ers offense, hold him to 17 points in this game, super impressive. I hope he gets a head coach job. I was hoping the Steelers would keep him, maybe not as a defense coordinator, but in that role that he had.
He would be the heir to
Tomlin.
To Mike Tomlin.
Exactly. I thought we could keep it going, keep it rolling, but I think Tomlin's in it for the long haul. I think he's got another 10 years in him at least.
Do you think they'll keep him for another 10 years, though?
Yeah.
Even at the same rate of playoff success that he's at right now?
It depends on what type of talent you bring around him. I mean, people are like, he hasn't won a playoff game since 2016. Okay, Ben Roethlisberger was probably 32 in 2016, twilight of his career. I mean, you couldn't really expect a whole lot out of him. He was winning games. He was great, don't get me wrong. And they had a lot of chances where they could have done something, and specifically the Jaguars, where they hung 40-some points on us with Blake Bortles.
Hey,
but
Blake Bortles, don't sleep on him, man.
I know, he's elite. But Kenny Pickett then right after that, everyone knew he wasn't an NFL quarterback. And now you got Justin Fields, who most people had wrote off by now. He's 2-0 right now.
But he didn't write back either, just like Gino.
Yeah, but the Steelers have like a 70-some% chance of making the playoffs, starting off 2-0 here. Great starts this season. And if they don't win a playoff game here, there's more excuses for him. I think Tomlin's fantastic head coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Pittsburgh fans are delusional that they want him gone every single year. He hasn't had a losing season in however many seasons that he's been there. That in and of itself is insane. You mentioned Brian Flores. I want to talk about the Dolphins super quick. We talked very quickly about Tua being out on the IR now, and like I said, kind of in quarterback purgatory for this year. We'll see if he can come back and what happens in that situation. But Tua really intrigues me because he had the same issue 2 years ago, right? He had multiple concussions. Everyone was very worried about his health and safety. He goes into the offseason before last year. He gains 15 pounds. Everyone says, man, he looks like a different guy. He looks bigger. He looks stronger. He looks more durable, like an NFL quarterback that'll be able to take some hits. And he did that. He had an entire season where he didn't get hurt, played every single game, led the league in passing yards, looked great, gave the Dolphins a really good chance to go into the playoffs and win games. Of course, they end up running into the Chiefs, who obviously are a dynasty. That's a buzzsaw. But he goes into this offseason and he says, I didn't feel great. I want to lose 15 pounds again. And now we're seeing the exact same issue. He slims down. He looks like he did 2 years ago, and he gets injured like he did 2 years ago. I don't understand the mindset from Tua and the Dolphins. I don't know if they backed that decision, if the Dolphins dietitians and weight and training staff backed that decision, but I can't understand it. Why would you change something from last year when you did lead the league in passing yards?
Yeah, that's a good point, but I don't know how 20 extra pounds helps him from that hit he took.
I think you'd be surprised.
Really?
I really do. I think you'd be surprised. I think DeMar Hamlin maybe gets run over in that situation.
Yeah.
And, or maybe he doesn't move as fast. It's all butterfly effect. If he's a little heavier, maybe he doesn't move out of the pocket as quick.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't lower the head as quickly, stuff like that. It's all butterfly effect. But I just personally can't understand, having such great success from last year and being like, man, I got to change something. Like, I understand you're always trying to strive to be better, and that's the whole business, is being better than you were before. But I he got better from 2 years ago where he didn't play the entire season.
Yeah.
So that was better. Why change anything again?
That's a great question. I have no clue.
And now I think it's biting them in the butt.
It is a good thing to think about, though. It's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah.
What could be different here, because you do bring up a good point. If he does weigh a little bit extra, maybe it's DeMar Hamlin who's on the ground. Maybe probably not in the same situation, but regardless, Tua can't keep taking hits like this.
Yeah, unfortunately, the two most fragile things in the league collided in that game: Tua's head and DeMar Hamlin's chest.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Tua got the brunt of it.
Stoppable force meets a movable object.
Exactly. That's right.
But I have a question for you, because Tua's probably 2-3 years older than us.
I would say somewhere around there, right? We were in high school when he was a freshman in college.
Okay, yeah. So do you think when you were in high school, maybe not you, but people on your team got concussions that just went undiagnosed? Or do you think at that point, like, times had caught up to where they're making sure that these kids are being diagnosed with concussions if they have them?
I personally was never diagnosed with a concussion in my however many years of playing football, from the age of, 5th grade until last season. I was never diagnosed with anything.
Yeah, but do you think you ever got rung up? Or
I probably did. In fact, I can tell you a story that my sophomore year was my first year of starting varsity. I took a little bit of like a blindside block playing defense, and I got my bell rung pretty bad against a team that we were handling. The game was pretty much over.
Cheap shot.
I don't know if it was a cheap shot. I didn't have my head on a swivel. I'll give it that. I'll blame myself. I don't know if I really got a concussion, but I was pulled to the sidelines. My dad was our defensive coordinator, and he told me, if you want to play next week, don't talk to anyone for the rest of the night. So clearly they saw something of me on the field in the 4 plays after I took that hit, to where they thought that I was concussed.
Yeah.
Following that game on Saturday, my dad was also our geometry teacher, and we had a big poster due that week, and he did these posters, I think once a semester, once a quarter maybe. and this was a huge grade on your final grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I did all the work prior. I just had to like pretty much put all the poster together. And he pretty much sat me down and did it for me. And he said, "Where do you think this should go?" And I was like, I don't know, maybe there. And he goes, "All right." And he just did it for me. So again, I think I was kind of taking advantage of the situation because I felt pretty fine. But I was also a 16, 17-year-old kid who had a lot of pride and was like, "Oh, I'm fine."
It's probably hard to know when you're that age too.
Exactly.
If
Right.
you're concussed. Probably just feel maybe a little lightheaded, maybe a little confused, but you never like put two and two together that I'm probably concussed.
Personally, like I said, I've never been diagnosed with concussion.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I haven't had one. I'm not going to say I have had one. But a doctor has never come to me and said, "You have a concussion."
Yeah.
And for that, I'm very thankful. That doesn't rule out the possibility that I have CTE because I think that there's a lot of short-term memory loss.
Yeah.
But
in the case of Tua, though, like in high school, he had to have been the guy. Right?
Oh, yeah. In Hawaii?
Yeah.
course.
So the coaches and probably the team doctor or, athletic trainers probably wouldn't want this guy to be sitting out games.
No. But I also think in high school it's a lot different. Like he's a guy who obviously is in the NFL now. Like even though he doesn't look like a great athlete moving around against NFL guys, like he's more athletic than every person he played against in high school pretty much. Like
had to have been.
I don't think he ever took a hit to where I think it's rare for there to even in many levels of high school for there to even be guys to like hit hard enough on a good athlete to where they can get a concussion, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, that
like
makes sense.
he's athletic enough and like as a quarterback you can protect yourself too, and he had obviously a really good arm. Like I think he was all right in high school and college as well. Like I think that they know how to protect themselves and coaches also know how to protect their quarterbacks, especially when it is a smaller guy like him.
Yeah, but he's so aggressive where I think he'd put himself in he wouldn't evade situations where he could get hit pretty hard.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting to go back and watch all of his Alabama footage.
Yeah.
And really see that.
Yeah, see some of the big hits he took.
He also had Jalen Hurts backing him up, and he may not have wanted Jalen Hurts to come into the game and then take a starting job, so maybe he was a little more careful. I read a book by Drew Brees once about how, part of it was how Phillip Rivers ended up taking his job in San Diego. And pretty much he was told by, I think it was Doug Flutie, like, never let your backup on the field. Like, I really don't care what it is. Like, don't let him on the field because he can take your job.
Yeah.
And you've seen that so many times with guys who, like, don't necessarily lose a starting job, but the other guy won it, right?
Yeah.
You saw it with, like, the first thing that always comes to mind is, like, in San Francisco, Colin Kaepernick took Alex Smith's job. And then Patrick Mahomes took Alex Smith's job again in Kansas City.
You ever hear of Wally Pipp?
No, who's Wally Pipp?
Wally Pipp he played for the Yankees back in like the 50s. And then one day he got hurt and this guy named Lou Gehrig came in to play.
Oh,
That was the end.
I think I've heard of that guy.
Because Bill Belichick said that to Wes Welker when
Julian
he was
Edelman
out.
came
And
in,
Julian
right?
Edelman
I have
returned a
heard that
touchdown.
story.
He said that to Wes Welker. Kind of
That's
a dick
interesting.
move.
Yeah, it is kind of a dick move. Seriously. I actually do remember hearing that story and thinking the exact same thing. Like, man,
He's a jerk.
way to keep your wide receiver's confidence up. Like, he's going to come back eventually, right?
And then
No.
Wes Welker was like, he can have it. And Bill Belichick was like, way to compete.
Well, then Wes Welker left, went to the
I
Broncos.
guess.
He won a Super Bowl, right, with the Broncos?
I think so.
He was on that team.
Yeah, but he wasn't good once he left.
He got a ring, though.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Well, speaking of, guys that go to a different team, maybe Kirk Cousins, miraculous comeback win in the final minutes against the Eagles on Monday Night Football. I noticed something, though, about watching this game and seeing Kirk Cousins. I'm not sure if it's because of the Achilles injury or what, but you also kind of saw it in Minnesota. Does Kirk Cousins just have a bad arm? Like, he's obviously very accurate, but all of his passes look like they float. Like, it looks like he's throwing a 15-yard out route. And, like, I specifically remember watching Justin Jefferson, like, almost having to wait for it. You know what I mean? Like, guys like that where they're open on their route and then they have to wait, reach back, make a great catch.
Yeah.
It seems like that's an issue.
Yeah.
And I noticed it on that last drive. I think he threw like a corner flag route. And it got to the receiver. It was a completion, but
You're holding your breath, though.
Yes, exactly. I was
Yeah.
holding the breath because the ball was in the air for
Yeah.
2 seconds. It's like, oh my God, is that going to get there or not?
If Drake London didn't burn Darius Slay
Oh
on
my
that
goodness.
last play,
Spectacular route.
I mean, he had so much separation on that Kirk Cousins could get it there.
Yeah, and I think Kirk Cousins in that one, like, he timed it up perfectly. He threw it before his break.
Yeah.
It was out there. It was perfectly in front of him. But again, it didn't really have a lot of zip on
No.
it. Like, he just threw it at the right time.
Yeah, just
And-
floating it up there.
And I guess you've probably watched more Kirk Cousins than me this season simply because he played against the Steelers in week 1.
Mhm.
Did you notice any physical drop-off maybe because of the injury?
I mean, probably. It's hard to remember because you were right. Like, even with Justin Jefferson, it's not like he was zipping it in there.
No, not at all.
I think his body is destroyed. He's gone through a lot of injuries.
He has. And I mean, he's been in the league for however many years now. What?
Yeah.
10 years? 10 plus?
Yeah, it has to be. RG3
I
probably
mean, I was gonna
drafted
say,
in
he got drafted
2015, 2014.
RG3,
Yeah.
who's now been hired and fired by ESPN. So that shows your age.
Eating croissants. You
Is
see
that-
that picture?
No, what's this?
Just for people listening, just look up RG3 croissant. He posted this like a couple weeks ago. Him and his wife like eating a croissant. It's the worst photo ever.
Why is it the worst? What makes it the worst?
You just got to
photo?
look at it. You just got to look at it to understand.
Oh man, I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, you got to find it. But
I love a good
anyways,
croissant, and
Yeah, no,
I
they're
like
good.
RG3 too. I don't know how
the
much I
picture
really
is
liked
it's
him.
just not good optics on the picture. Let's just say that.
Oh no,
But yeah, Kirk
I don't know if we
Cousins.
should be endorsing this on the air. But.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Kirk Cousins, he's a game manager at this point. He's like Peyton
he
Manning.
is.
We were just talking about the Broncos that year. He's
Yeah.
like Peyton Manning in this final season. He's not gonna fire deep balls down the field, but he's got talent around him. Bijan Robinson, really all you need for that offense to
Yeah.
work. And Drake London's proven himself in his 3rd year.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts, obviously, huge weapon out of the tight end.
They need to
Darnell
use
Mooney
him
now
more.
as well.
Yeah, Ray McLeod.
Ray McLeod, that's right, former Steeler, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that you can get by on a quarterback who doesn't have like an elite arm strength, and you've seen that with Peyton Manning winning a Super Bowl. You see it with Kirk Cousins being able to beat the Eagles here, but like it makes it really, really hard. And I think that a guy like him and a guy like Peyton Manning, like who really know the playbook well, really know how to read a defense, like that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
But it really makes it tough when you kind of can't bail yourself out by just using your arm strength. Like you see Mahomes sometimes, like a play breaks down, he can just bail himself out because he can throw a sidearm ball 30 yards down the field.
Yeah.
I think it makes it a lot tougher when you can't get to a read late and just chuck a stop route in like Josh Allen can from 15 yards out.
Mm-hmm.
Like he can just bullet it and get it from here to there like that. Whereas Kirk Cousins needs to make the reads at the right time. And if he misses a read, if he's mentally late for a second, it makes his arm late for a second, and then it's a pick.
Yeah.
So I think they can win, but I feel like that almost puts a ceiling on a team like that, on the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that game says more about the Falcons or the Eagles. I'm not sure if the Eagles are contenders without A.J. Brown.
Really?
That's the way
Wow.
I'm thinking. I don't think their defense is very good this year either, especially their secondary.
Yeah.
There's some serious weak parts.
Yeah, it seems like Darius Slay has really fallen off a little bit.
Yeah.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson maybe just a loud mouth.
Yep.
There's
Those
a lot
rookies aren't doing great yet.
Is Cooper DeJean playing at all?
He hasn't a whole lot, but when he has been, he hasn't been impactful.
I think Reed Blankenship is probably the best player in that Eagles secondary. The safety.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
What are you pointing at? Why are you making me turn around and look at the screen?
it was
Lowest QBRs.
lowest
through first
QBR.
two seasons,
Yeah,
or what
and
was
it
it?
was Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, Jamarcus Russell, and Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
Yeah. And-
Baker Mayfield was in there for what? His rookie season with the Browns.
Yeah, that's what it said.
That's surprising
Yeah,
me
it
because
surprised me
they
too.
were good that year.
Yeah. Interesting.
The Baker magic was in full swing that year.
But it's funny, like Jamarcus Russell, Bryce Young, and Trevor Lawrence. Those might be the 3 biggest busts of all time.
it is really interesting. I don't know if you can put
Jamarcus Russell was unbelievably bad, though.
yes, but Jamarcus Russell is the number 1 bust of all time.
Yeah.
But like Trevor Lawrence has won a playoff game. Trevor Lawrence has had winning seasons.
Who'd he beat? The Ravens?
The Chargers, remember with that huge comeback a couple years ago in the first round, in the wild card round? They were down 21 or something like that.
Who was the quarterback? Was that Philip Rivers still?
No, it was Herbert.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was only 2 years ago. Can you really call him a bust, though, for having winning seasons and a playoff win? And really, I mean, the Jaguars are good. They have talent around them, but like, it's not like they're juggernauts and have talent like every single place you look. It's like, oh my goodness, how are we going to stop them? I wouldn't say that, although he's in a good situation, he's not in like a spectacular situation.
Yeah, but neither was Tom Brady he had some amazing defense.
He had one of the best coaches of all time. He had
Doug Peterson's
great defense.
He's a real good coach.
Doug Peterson's a very good coach. 216-859-8699. Let us know what you think about Trevor Lawrence. Is he a bust?
Oh man, I wish I knew where the future started.
Buddy, the future starts here.
WSRR Radio.
Don't buddy me in an ad read, okay?
WSRR Radio. We don't take kindly to fascists.
Welcome back to Behind Enemy Lines. This episode is being recorded on September 18th. I'm Lucas, joined by Dom. This is your Cleveland sports show, recorded in Pittsburgh. And if you're recording in Chicago, you can call up Synergy Music Studio, even if you're not recording in Chicago, but based out of Chicago. Synergy Music Studio offers a diverse array of musical services specifically crafted to meet our clients' needs. From recording to mixing and production, discover how we can bring your vision to life at synergymusicstudio.com. That's synergymusicstudio.com. Dom, earlier today you mentioned, is Deshaun Watson back? Talking about some Browns talk. I don't consider him fully back. I think the verdict's still out. I think, like I said, week one was an overreaction. I don't think it's an overreaction to say that hot dogs are fucking back.
They are back.
I think that a couple of years ago, there was a smear campaign ran on hot dogs, and I was fully bought into it. I think there was a magazine, maybe it was like Time or People or something, that came out with something that said, every time you eat a hot dog, you take 30 minutes off of your life. Mm-hmm. Which when I heard that, I was kind of like, yeah, that might be true. Like, hot dogs are gross. No, who knows what's in there?
Yeah.
And Mike Tomlin kind of alluded to that this week.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have used that as a segue.
That's right.
Mike Tomlin said, when they asked how they were winning or something like that, he said, I can't give you the ingredients to the hot dog. You might not want to know what's in there, right?
That's exactly right.
Which is exactly how I feel about actual hot dogs. Mm-hmm. And for a while in my life there, I was like, man, hot dogs are gross. Who knows what's in there? Like, there's probably like pig feet and testicles and stomach and organs in there. Like, oh man, that's gross. But I think hot dogs are back. I think that it's my guilty pleasure to sit down at a ballpark or to see, in Pittsburgh it's rare, but see a hot dog cart. Oh. And pick up a hot dog on a day, put on relish, onions,
mustard,
ketchup. There it was. I almost said pickles, but that's relish.
But hot dogs have to have some fixings on it. You can't go 100%. With nothing.
The only hot dog that doesn't need anything on it,
Costco,
is the Costco hot dog. That's right. It's $1.50 for a quarter-pound dog and a drink. Mm-hmm. Can't beat that anywhere.
It's a phenomenal hot dog.
It's the best hot dog you can get.
But now, it is better with mustard on it.
I like it so much I don't ever put anything on it.
Wow.
I've never had. Now this has been since I was a child. Our family is very devoted to Costco.
Costco guys.
Yeah, we're huge Costco guys. We were Costco guys before AJ and Big Justice.
Have you had the double chunk chocolate cookie?
No, I actually haven't, and I really want to.
I didn't even know that was on the menu.
It looks good. It's newer. It's very new.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my dad texted us about it when it first came out and said they're getting double chunk chocolate cookie, which shows that maybe we're more Costco guys than Big AJ.
I think you guys should start your own.
We probably could, but I don't know. I think
We're
I think
Costco guys.
our Costco guys versus their Costco guys in a fight to the death. I would take us.
Yeah, easily.
I think AJ would
Big
probably
AJ
take down Dirty Dan, but
Yeah, Big AJ's a liability.
I could take Big Justice.
You could take
down.
them both, I think.
Me?
Big Justice is out within 2 seconds.
He was a professional wrestler. Big
No,
Justice or Big AJ?
Big Justice.
I don't know who's who.
Big Justice you whoop in
I have
2
so much
seconds.
brain rot.
And then you and Pops go in on AJ.
I have such bad Costco guys brain rot.
It's pretty
that
awful.
I was listening to the radio today and they're doing a local thing about trying to raise money for a local radio station. They said, we bring the music to you, whatever. But like we bring great music to you for the last 50 years. I heard we bring, and in my mind went, the boom. That's what we, and then I just went straight into it. I was like, I'm cooked.
Bad.
I'm cooked.
It's really bad. Sad thing is I saw them a while ago.
In person?
No, not in person. Or like on my Instagram feed or YouTube or whatever. And like I saw it and for some reason it really caught my attention. I watched the whole video. I was like, interesting. Like I kind of like these guys. And then I see them more and more as time goes on. I'm like, I really like these guys.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
like them.
But I never
I did more, but I don't like them quite as much now. But go on.
Yeah, I don't like them as much anymore either. The gimmick's up. But anyways, this was like a year ago when I was seeing all this.
Wow.
And I'm like, man, these guys are pretty sick. But I was like, I can't let anybody know that I think this.
Yeah,
So I-
that gang know I fuck with Big AJ and Justice.
So I didn't follow them. Didn't like any of their stuff. And now I'm like, damn.
And it fell out of your For You page and now it's back.
Maybe, yeah, they don't. I'm more get more Rizzler now.
Oh, the Rizzler's the king.
I love the Rizzler. I'm all in on
my
him.
issue with the Costco guys is that they never mention the hot dog though.
Yeah,
They
that
talk
is an
about the
issue.
chicken bake. The chicken bake's very good.
Haven't had it.
Talk about the the chicken bake's legit. It's
Really?
it's a full meal. It's very good.
It looks kind of gross.
It's if you like don't think about the fact that you're at a like surplus store that's selling like a Alfredo chicken bake.
Yeah.
It's really good. But really, I mean, like, I think it's probably the same thing as like getting something like that from a pizza shop.
Oh yeah.
Something like it's really not that gross.
But you can't get
probably.
that hot dog anywhere
But
in
it's
the
pretty
world.
good. But yeah, they don't talk about the hot dog at all.
That is an issue.
And that's their best value, their best price
Product.
on anything, and their best product.
yeah, yeah.
They
I would say that the thing that pisses me off most about AJ is how he laughs. The fake laugh at
Yeah,
everything.
that-
Like,
I
it
love
ain't-
that. I
it
kinda
ain't that
love it.
funny. Nothing's that funny.
I kind of like the fake laugh.
That's where I'm out.
He's pretty good at it. I think it's like when I hear it, it makes me laugh.
All right, I'm glad.
Every once in a while throughout your day, though, if you just let out a boom when you do the arm and then you, it'll brighten your day. I'm serious.
This is phenomenal radio right now.
I'm serious. It is good radio. If anyone who's listening to this knows what we're talking about,
They get
they
it.
know it. They're like, yeah, it does. It brightens my day.
Yeah, it does.
Boom.
Especially getting 5 booms.
I have a little issue when they say that's a 5 booms and they do it 5 times. That's
Really?
a little overkill. To me.
The thing that bothers me most about the 5 is that it's always a 5.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. The boom
There's
is
no rating.
boom inflation is out of control.
It
No one
is
gets
true.
a 4. No one gets a 3. I need
I
some
want
criticism.
them one time to be like, this is all right. This will get 2 booms. Mm-hmm. It's above average.
Yeah, I don't want to boom or doom. I want you to doom things when they're bad.
Yeah, they don't doom ever because they
Yeah.
have such a positive attitude. That's
Yeah.
what they're trying to bring to the world.
Do respect it. But I kind of feel bad for Big Justice. I saw some behind the scenes
Oh, he was
footage.
getting bullied by his dad.
Yeah, did you
a
see
little
that
bit.
video?
Yeah.
He was like, no, you say
He's like, no, you have to taste it and then say we're doing a boom or doom. This is what we're saying. You have to taste.
it's pretty abusive behind the scenes. it
Yeah, a
seems
little
like.
bit. And he was like, Dad, I know. No, I know.
Yeah,
He was
kept
kind of
on saying,
giving
"I
it
know."
back to him a little bit. I don't know
I
how old
know.
Big Justice is. He was like, yeah, I got it. Hey, this isn't my first day, buddy.
But then he didn't get it at all.
No,
because he
he
had
didn't.
to keep on being like, bud, you don't understand what we're doing here. I know.
It was rough to watch. But back to hot dogs. I don't think that they give the respect to the Costco dog enough. And that's like the number one product, right?
Yeah.
And you actually brought up an interesting question. You can ask it yourself.
Okay, all right.
About hot dogs.
here's the
Because we were
question.
talking about them taking 30 minutes off your life and all that. It's my guilty pleasure to have a hot dog with the onions and the relish. Go on. Give me your question.
My
of the day.
question of the day for this final segment is, is a pack of hot dogs, eating a pack of hot dogs worse than smoking a pack of cigarettes? And here, I think you could make an argument that eating a single hot dog
is worse than a pack of cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
You're
I'd argue
tripping.
that. I'd argue.
You're tripping.
I think you could make a point. I think you could make a serious argument for it. But I think for this sake, we'll just say a case of hot dogs.
A case of hot dogs.
Pack of hot dogs.
A case. A 30 rack of hot dogs.
100 dog pack. You got to eat that. You're dead.
I'll tell you what, though. You know that Costco does sell the dogs like in a pack. They're smaller.
It's
though.
funny. I was actually watching a video last night of Rhett and Link.
Yeah. Oh, the Kings.
Love those guys.
Classic.
So basically, they were doing.
You're watching Good Mythical Morning.
It was Good Mythical More.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm deep into it. But
You're
anyways,
deep.
they were doing like a Costco like food test, and they said that the hot dogs that they sell are not the same. As the ones that they're selling.
They're not as big. They're not as big for sure. They're like probably half the size, but they do have similar flavor.
Really?
If you put them on the grill, they're good.
Okay.
I would eat a pack of those over smoking a pack of cigarettes. And I think that.
Well, it's not the question if you would.
I know it's not the question if I would, but I think that would be more healthy for me. I think my argument would be, I can work out and like sweat out that processed meat out of my body quicker than I can reverse the irreversible lung damage of smoking a pack of cigarettes.
Well, I think it depends on how many you're like smoking, like how quick you're smoking this pack. If it's like
how quick are we eating the dogs?
Well,
Is it in a day?
Yeah, maybe.
Over the course of one day, smoking a pack of cigarettes or eating a pack of hot dogs.
Yeah, how many? 8 dogs in a pack? 10?
There's 10, but the buns only come with 8 in a pack, which is where
that is messed up.
Such a
You think they do that on purpose?
Probably.
Have to.
Then you got to buy 2 things of buns, or you got to double up.
And you got to put PB and
you got to go double barrel.
You got to put PB
That's the best. Or this is a D'Ororazio hack. You take the leftover hot dog buns and you make French toast out of them.
Ooh.
Yeah,
they're
really good. They're really soft.
Yeah,
especially like the potato buns.
Potato bun. That's what I was about to say.
That's the best.
Potato bun is the best on a hot dog or on a hamburger. The best type of bun. Pretzel roll, close second.
Pretzel roll's close.
Yeah.
A pretzel roll on a dog would be pretty interesting. Ooh. I think Annie Ann's has those pretzel roll dogs.
Yeah, but their dogs can't be good.
No, I can't get behind the pretzel roll.
If it was a Costco dog in a pretzel, now we're talking.
Costco doesn't sell pretzels, do they? You know what they do sell? I think they still do. Is a churro.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the twisted churros go crazy. I haven't had. I have to go and have a full Costco day. I haven't. When we were kids, we had Costco at least once a week.
Yeah.
My mom would shop there, blow a bag. She would spend $200+ a week because she had 3 hungry boys. And every time she was there, she would call home and say, "Hey, I'm at Costco. What do you guys want?" And we'd get dogs, smoothies, pizza. Like, oh my God, I could go to Costco and have a full meal.
It's pretty great. I haven't had their pizza. How's their pizza?
Pizza's good.
Really?
Their pizza's really good, in my opinion. It's like thin. It's got a big flop on it, super greasy, but like if you dab it with a napkin, it's really good. It's we're an Italian family. Like we had Costco pizza one time at a reunion, and everyone was like, "Man, this is good za. This is good pie." And like, I can't complain about anything Costco does. They have my full support.
I like it.
Over Sam's Club.
Sam's Club is decent, but their food options aren't great.
Someone brought into the office a pack of muffins from Sam's Club.
They're pretty good, probably.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I bet.
Pretty good. Costco has really good muffins though too.
Really?
I like Costco's muffins more.
That's
my endorsement.
They got some good sushi at both Sam's Club and Costco.
I've never had Costco sushi. I will. Costco Heinen's has good sushi.
I don't know about Heinen's.
It's a grocery store in Cleveland. They have good.
What do you know about Menards?
I know you can save big money, right?
You go there?
Save
Cleveland?
big money at Menards. I don't know. I've never been there.
Never. Yeah.
What even is it? Do you know?
I think it's a grocery store
In Cleveland? Why do you know about it?
I just seen some things. You know what?
Is there a niche like local version of Big AJ and Big Justice who are Menards guys instead of Costco guys?
There has to be.
I think there should be. They need to create a boomverse where there's an evil version of them who are Sam's Club guys.
I think that's us.
That,
I think that can be us.
but I can't back Sam's Club. I'm a Costco man
You're right.
through and through.
Well, we could just be the evil version at Costco.
No, because it has to be. They have to be rivals.
Well, we can trash Sam's Club. That kind of gives you what you want.
No, that's not what.
You wanted to be the opposite.
But if
You
we
wanted to
were
be the evil
trashing
version.
Sam's Club, then we'd be on Big Justice and AJ's side. Because they also don't like Sam. Because that's Costco's enemy.
You're right. I want to know what they think about Sam's Club if they.
I wonder if they even know what it is. Maybe they don't have Sam's Club in Boca Raton.
It's sad that you know where they're from.
Of course I know where they're from. They mentioned it in the song. How could you not know where they're from?
I haven't heard much of the song, but
Oh, the song goes.
when I officially lost them was when they started putting the song in the background of their videos
Yes.
because I can't
That
hear
was
what you're
annoying.
saying.
That was, and they started playing it too loud, too.
Yeah, and it's the
I was
same
like, the
voices.
editor is just bad.
It's awful. I think the editor is AJ.
Yeah, probably. He probably just does it himself.
Hire me, AJ.
AJ, there's your ploy.
Bring me
Or
down.
that's Dom's ploy to send him out to Boca Raton.
I thought you were saying I'm gonna be his ploy. I thought that was short of like for employee.
Oh, his ploy? Shortening
like that.
employee to ploy?
Yeah,
I like that
my
too.
ploy.
Well, thank you guys for listening to Behind Enemy Lines. Thanks for listening to us talk about Big AJ and Big Justice for the last 15 minutes and hot dogs.
And this
we are
episode gets a big boom.
This episode gets 5 booms on the boom meter. We're brought to you by Hellbender Vinyl. Hellbender is Pittsburgh's first and only custom vinyl pressing plant. Hellbender Vinyl is one of America's most trusted record pressing plants. They're high on quality. They're high on service. Hellbendervinyl.com. Check them out. Thank you for listening to Behind Enemy Lines. I'm Lucas.
I'm Dom. This is WSRR. The machine kills monopolies.
Peace.